on the here, like it says live. But yeah, so we're live this time in English. After so many webinars done in Portuguese, this is, I think, the first one that we're doing in English. Today, Christian here is a teacher here at the Starter, but today is going to talk a little bit about designing human AI experiences for 2 hours, not one, which is also not common to have a webinar that lasts more than an hour or hour 15 minutes. Today is going to be 2 hours. But like every other webinar, the idea is for you to, if you have any questions or if you have things to ask, you can save it until the end, or you can just drop it in the chat in the middle, and maybe you can pick it up if it's possible or not to pick it up some of your questions in the middle. And at the end, you'll get all of the materials and the certificate, etc. And about, regarding Club DY and the Starter, you have information about the community in the description of this live stream. You have links for the website and like the library where we have all of the free content and the other webinars that we're doing. So you can find all of the links there. And that's kind of it. I'm going to take this off. Christian, if you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll put your slides up.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you very much, Miguel, for the introduction. 2 hours today, not only 15 minutes or some short, easy to digest material. Why? Because I think it's important that we are diving into the topic a little bit deeper. And the topic is complex. It's not easy to digest. It's not easy to cope with. And so I think it's worth to spend a little bit more time about it. But let me warm up the stage with a context. Where are we coming from?
It's the office worker of the future who may have to face not only a change of work style, but a change of workplace.
That's because the office of the future is so self-contained that it can exist almost anywhere, provided there's a telephone and electrical supply. So, the necessary visual display unit, the electronic keyboard, computer, and printer can be set up in your own house. And far more of us could be working from home by 1981. Good news for people with young children. Or this workstation could be shared on a neighbourhood basis for those who don't have the time, the petrol, or the inclination to commute to work. So, this technology already offers a choice of lifestyle. But does it improve efficiency?
Does it improve efficiency?
So welcome to the Designing the Human AI Experience. And I when this video was published or sent out on BBC, I was just 2 years old. And it needed over 40 years and a worldwide pandemic to make that vision of how we are interacting with technology true. And that's amazing. This is amazing. For over 20 years, I asked myself the question, how's technology changing users' expectations and users' demands on interfaces and how they're interacting with technology, with interfaces. And that's this is all what this is about today. So the agenda is that we're talking a little bit more about the context. Where are we right now and where we might go in the very soon time. Then also, what is actually human AI or AX experience design, and why is it not just user experience and user interface design? And then we will spend a lot of time with the 7 sins of AI product design, because it's much easier to recognize what is bad, so the anti-patterns, and to memorize these and to learn from examples how to not doing it. Okay, and then we will have some time also for question and answers and open discussions. Okay, I'm here as head of user experience and human AI experience at Optimizer in Porto, Portugal. And we are working for Portuguese and international clients. And we are around for over 25 years. So it's an old company, if you want to say. We have 90 employees. And we are also members of the German UPRA, which is the German User Professional Association, the UXPA, which is the User Experience Professional Association in Portugal, and of Porto UX, which is a local community here in Porto. So this webinar is based on my 30-hour online course here at the Starter, which the next cohort, the next edition is starting on the 7th of April, I think. And then there is already the 3rd edition for October this year planned. So if you are interested in that, what I have to share with you today, there is a much bigger deep dive with practical appliance of the learned things in group work, online, remotely available. So what is stunning is that when I was starting to research around about 1.5 years ago, all the materials to build the online course, which is a stack of scientific papers, of guidelines published by GitLab, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and many more, that they altogether have a lot of things in common, but it's still not as easy to apply. And why is it so? I will write on the fact that at this moment, we are often working with an interface, which for me as an old person, I'm getting to be 50 years old this year, looks very, very familiar. Because when I started my career on a computer as a young man, computers looked like that on the left side, command line interfaces. And now, over 20 years later, I'm back on command line interfaces with improv skills, because it's just, it makes up so much stuff which I didn't ask for it. And this will be one of the topics we will cover today. So let's dive in. I have to be thankful to my parents. They've been wise in the sense that they sent me, or they forced me to go to a typewriter course when I was around about 12 years old. What they didn't know is that I like to go to the typewriter course because typewriter courses are where the girls been. And I was already interested in girls. So, never mind. However, I learned to use a standard keyboard, 10 fingers writing, which equipped me back then to the transfer to use computer keyboards later then. And computers, when I learned to work with computers, looked more like this. Even so, I already knew I want to be like the Apple guy, which is it was already cool then, right? So, but for decades, we had a clear, beautiful, upward trajectory how we are interacting with computers. And, it was brutally straight on. And even in all these developments lead to where we are right now. So when we started with command line interfaces, and now even because of mobile and touch technology, which is not around as long, okay, it's around about 20 years, but for me, that is just a step in between. However, before the pandemic, we already leaded straight forward with high speed to spatial computing, to everything which might be happening in smart glasses, as we call them right now. And there have been already out a lot of design studies. This example is from Spotify in 2019, how we would interact in this spatial environment with augmented reality interfaces like smart glasses with applications. And even then in 2018-19, Apple was already announced to bring out augmented reality glasses, and the community was expecting something like this. This is just a design study. What they launched then after pandemic was that. And you might think, okay, why is it so hard? Well, the technology to provide that we're having in-screen displays available, which are comfortable and easy and clearly to read while I'm wearing the glasses, is not as easy. And it's not as easy to develop. We need certain materials for that, which are hard to develop. And we are now in this point of development, also of material engineering, that we can do such a thing like having an in-screen display on my glasses. Well, Meta's new glasses are around. They sold 7 million glasses last year in the US. This is a strong signal. It's already penetrating end consumer markets. 7 million is not just a trend. It's starting to saturate the markets. And here's the thing, how Meta is imagine how we are interacting with these things. It's not only glasses, you need also a wristband. You have motion and gestures to navigate with your glasses, with the user interface on your glasses, right? So it's not just the glasses, you need also another device. But also Amazon is working already in the field with smart glasses, and you can see here that worker has a button on his chest, which is using to click, to tap for actions. And it's very practical appliance here of smart glasses and a very good use case of where this technology is really helping. Navigation, scanning, selection, very supportive, very augmenting. He's pushing the button. And just now, I just received the glasses last Friday. These are the Mantra Live glasses from California, the first batch of 1,000 pieces, which are coming with the same tech or even better as a Meta glasses from Ray-Ban. They're having 2 cameras, 3 microphones, touch panels, and so forth, live streaming, photography, audio, AI audio, and so forth. But what is interesting about these glasses and why I was so happy to be able to buy them and to bring them to Portugal is they are open source. There's a whole open source operating system. I can access the technology on the smart glasses, not only creating a mobile application and tethering. No, I can really access the AI capabilities on the hardware and building some amazing demos in the next couple of weeks and months to test out and to learn about how we will optimal interact with this kind of devices. But this is not all. This is one wearable, right? Isn't it? There are rings. There are smart wristbands with AI loaded, which doing a lot of stuff for you, like, you know, not so much to see in marketing, isn't it? But the interesting fact here is it's built by Tesla and SpaceX engineers, baked by Y Combinator. This is serious development of a device and of the AI behind it. And you can do a lot of things. The AI is here able to really track all the exercises you might do without really interacting with the device. You don't have to start an exercise session. No, the device will recognize that you're doing exercise and will track it accordingly. So it's kind of interfaceless AI, right? And then there is even something more crazy, which we have to be aware of, which is telepathic interfaces. And I'm not talking about what Elon Musk is working on with, having implants in your head. No, it's without any implant. It's just a device you wear like glasses. It's from a company called Alter Ego, also based in San Francisco. And they're working since over 10 years on the technology. It was usually planned as a medical device to help people who cannot speak anymore or cannot move anymore. And now is entering the consumer market very soon, also baked with millions and millions of investment and serious plans.
We all have moments when inspiration strikes and you want to save an idea before it slips away. You can now capture those instantly without lifting a finger. For example, just going to see if that synced. Oh yeah, awesome. For all of human history, we've built tools to extend our abilities. But we never perfected the tool and the interface to extend the human mind. Alter Ego gives us that, a way to communicate at the speed of thought. We believe this is the beginning of that future, where technology is no longer an external box we carry, but a natural extension of who we are.
And it could all be possible within a few years. A system that improves efficiency by cutting down paperwork and allowing us to communicate without today's middlemen, the telephone operators, ticket clerks, and secretaries.
And I hope I can make my point that we heard these many times before, how we predict the future, what we wish for us for the future, how we will use technology, how we will interact with technology. However, these things need time. Again, the great interface regression we are going through altogether right now is that we started with command line interfaces, went to graphical user interfaces, then to touch, which was a big pivoting point in our interface history, then to voice. Don't forget Alexa, Siri, and co. They've been around for over 10 years. And yes, they didn't work well, but now they are working. Siri, I don't know. The rest is really impressive. I use it every day. And spatial is not the next big thing. We are on it for 10 years. But now the technology is much more mature and is starting to penetrate the consumer markets, while it was very early adapter approaches in the last years before. And we had a slowdown moment by the pandemic situation and the supply chain problems we had to face too. But however, right now we are back to command line interfaces, prompting, which is a huge problem. It is not a preferred user interface of the common user. It was not 30 years ago, and it's not now. The prompt window was invented for engineers to have access to train large language models. It was not intended to be an interface for consumers. Not for you, not for me, not for average Joes, not even for very technic-affine people like us. Look, most of us are not able to write correctly, well-structured text. But this is necessary to interact with AI at the moment if you are rely completely on prompting. And that will be not successful. Okay, I will explain more about that soon. What is happening here is that user expectations evolve in a tandem with the advancement of technology standards. So we started with typewriters, and now we are entering spatial technology. But in the same way, toddlers today growing up with touch technology and with voice interfaces, we have to ask ourselves, why should they work with typewriters or even with computer mouses? These are old technologies, old interfaces, which are totally outdated and not necessary anymore. We get used to it. And in the moment we get used to it, it's very hard for us to use older interfaces again, which are not as easy, intuitive as the state-of-the-art interfaces. A prompt window is not state-of-the-art. This is going back 30 years. So, but why is it so hard for us to write, to look a little bit deeper there again? So as a big part of the situation stems from how we are inputting information, the modality, in this typing, writing, and how much words is the average person writing per day? What do you think? Have a moment, make your number in your head. Pam, it's 3,000 to 4,000 words a day we are writing if you're not a professional journalist or writer. Okay, but how much words do we speak every day? Absolutely independent of our sex. So it's around about 16,000 words a day if you're not a professional speaker and like a narrator or a moderator in TV. 16,000 words a day is a much higher output as we write per day or being able to write. But here's the thing. We have 763 million people on the planet who can't read and write according to the last study from UNESCO in 2022. This is already a great improvement. There's already millions of people more on this planet who are able to write and read. However, it's a stunning big number. And if you think about it, how much people we're giving access to knowledge, to services, but also to e-commerce. And that is the reason why the big 5 tech companies are investing so heavily into voice interfaces, because of course, then people also can buy stuff, right? First of all, they can educate themselves, they can learn, they can earn money, but they can also buy stuff by just speaking with a device and not writing, if they not can read, right? So it's very important to see here how the context creates the requirements and the expectations. What is the cognitive capacity of the user itself? How does he feel about using a technology? And feelings and AI having a very interesting relationship at this point of our evolution. And again, you need knowledge. You need the right environment. You cannot speak in every environment with the technology, and you might prefer to write or having other interfaces to interact with your AI system. And then, of course, there are mental models. What did we have learned so far, how we are interacting with technology? And is it necessary to learn a new, very different way to interact with technology? All this is playing in when we are talking about how are humans using technology. And it's a no-brainer that everyone is betting on voice. And again, it's stunning how well it's working, just like 1-2 years. I mean, I'm working with voice interfaces since over 15 years. But just in the last 1 to 2 years, it's starting to really work. And of course, we have social friction. We have error risk and privacy concerns, and that's the reason people hesitate, and they have the right to do it. And we have to also cover these concerns. Then there's also the subtitle type of avatars, voice avatars. How does voice actually look like? At the moment, we are in this phase where everyone is doing his own thing, and there is no really standard for how a voice interface is looking like. How does it feel? Because voice avatars having different personas, different characteristics from very serious to very funny and so forth. And I like the perplexity approach to have it visualized, but also giving you the transcribed output in text, which is very helpful. So you can talk to a device, but the feedback does not have to be on loudspeaker on. You can just read it. So input type matters. Speech, 150 words per minute. High social friction, privacy concerns, and error risks, adaptation barriers, right? Okay, typing only 40 words per minute if you are a good writer. Deliberate but slower, high precision, and more cognitive load. You really have to think before you write, or you think while you write. But click and touch is a clear command. Nothing is faster and more clear as a touch or a click on a button. It's discrete, it's fast, has of course limitations in how much expression you can put into buttons and levers and things. And you have even muscle memory speed. So what's here the right interface if we want to interact with AI interfaces? And let's ask AI.
Okay, let me take it from here. AI avatars are on the rise, yes. But relax, they're not going to replace every button, menu, and tap in your life. Not yet. Not ever, probably. Instead, we're moving into a mixed world that blends stuff like voice, great when your hands are driving, cooking, or holding a coffee. Gestures, finally waving at the air does something besides confusing people. Normal screens, still here, just with secret AI superpowers. And yeah, avatars like me. We pop in when a face, tone, or a little charm actually helps. Or when we need to speak in a language that is not our native tongue. Ou quando precisamos falar numa língua que não é a nossa língua materna. Mataha, mugoyu de wa nai gengo de hanasu hitsuyou ga aru toki. When voice, gesture, and sensors all work together, you get these cool zero UI moments. No hunting for buttons. The right thing just appears like it read your mind. It didn't, probably. Here's how I see it. Natural language is a smoothie. Tasty, blended, awesome, but you can't really unmix it cleanly. Buttons are like a bento box. Neat, labeled, easy to scan in half a second. All right, I'm swapping out now. Human version coming up. Be kind. He is misspelling terms a lot. I mean, a lot. He doesn't have an update button. Enjoy the rest.
So our job altogether as designers is to design a hybrid kitchen where in the pre-word perfect era of AI interactions, users are still memorizing prompts and GDP dialects instead of having intuitive interfaces with affordance that reduce cognitive translations. Another example might be that of this hybrid kitchen approach is what we did for a bank in Norway. It's the Instabank. It's a pure digital bank. It's not available in Portugal, unfortunately, so far. And we cloned the voice of a real person working at the bank. His name is Magnus. And we even gave him a little bit of this, Nordic dialect or when he's speaking English. So when we tested it out.
Hi, my name is Magnus, and I am from Instabank. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Magnus. I need to create a free account. Do you have any options?
Currently, Instabank offers a savings account called Spare Conto Plus, which has no minimum deposit requirement and provides competitive interest rates. You can open this account online.
And so forth. So you can transport a lot of character and image with the voice alone if you do it right. That was just an old school chatbot, right? But the voice interface is state of the art and not as easy to replicate, and that is really understanding you and is answering correctly. That is a big challenge. Okay, so are AI interfaces mainstream ready right now? What is very interesting is that we have this intention action gap of the users, as well that the AI adoption might be hitting a speed bump right now. The majority of users think AI would help them to do their job, but more or less half of it is using AI regularly. A new data from the Census Bureau reveals that the AI usage among large companies, large companies means those with over 250 employees or more, has fallen from 30.5% in June to 12% in August last year. So it's going down. It's a small but significant reversal in what had been relatively steady upward growth in the recent month. And the reason for it is that the actual experience using AI products isn't that great. It comes with a lot of issues. And these issues are that we're having these latency theater. And every one of us who is using AI on a daily basis, or vibe coding or vibe designing, knows that even small corrections or small asks need a lot of time. There's a lot of processing in the background, and syncing is just buffering, right? But for users like us who are coming from over 10 years or longer, where the trajectory was that everything gets faster, instant reaction, instant action on our intents. I click something, it happens in milliseconds. And suddenly from milliseconds, we are back to minutes, sometimes even half an hour, depending on how sophisticated your prompt and your job is you have put in. So we have unpredictability of AI systems. There is a very inconsistent answer style. It changes all the time. We have model drifting. So a model is changing while it's learning. So what you did today might have a different outcome tomorrow. It's not as replicatable. It's not precise. And that's a huge problem. It also creates a lot of structures and cognitive whiplash. There's a lot of output always, much more as we as humans cognitively can digest as well. We have hidden boundaries. Users can tell what the system can or can't do. And funnily, we are also interpreting a lot into AI systems. What they might be able to do is not true. And we are often also underestimate the capabilities of AI systems. That is a huge error. And of course, these absolutely huge cognitive overload of prompting. And we have to learn kind of dialects to prompt with different systems in a different way to get to more or less same results. And that is the biggest issue, in my opinion. As I said, many people are not able, including myself, to write structured, well, correct text. And to make a very good prompt, you have really to engineer it. That's the reason it's called prompt engineering. You have to learn how to do it. You have to put a lot of cognitive investment into it. And even then, it's no guarantee that you're getting the result you're expecting or you are planning to get. You have not so much control in it. And that's a huge, huge burden. There's another aspect of it. Tools shape the way we think. And we are not learned to engineer. We are not engineers. We are designers. And now we are engineering design. Everyone who is working in the last weeks with code, with Cloud Code and as MCP servers connecting Figma and AIs and so forth can rely on that. But this is not designing. This is coding. We are designers. And now we have to learn to code to make design. The whole focus is wrong. At the moment, it's all about how do we do design? How do we use tools? The tool chain is changing. Yeah, whatever. I started working at Photoshop 1.0. And my first websites I did in Photoshop, I don't know, version 4 or whatever. A long time before the first software was actually on the market, especially to develop websites, designing websites. And these applications, even the technology is not existing anymore, like Flash or other stuff. However, this is just tool chain. the reason we designers are needed is we have design education, we have a psychology education, we are trained on empathy for the users to understand what people need and want, and what does it need that they can interact well with your servers. And so it's not changing that you have to think about the what do we design, why do we are designing it, what does it need that it will work best for the user and for the service, not the how. Okay. And AI in this moment, especially AI interfaces, are like Swiss Army knives shipped in a sealed box with a sticky note on it. Ask me nicely to open, because we don't know exactly what to do and how to do it with it. We learn a lot at the moment how to use this technology, but most of us, even developers and other engineers, are also very challenged to use AI in its full capacity. And some of you may ask yourself if AI avatars as assistants and agents might help to overcome these cognitive limitations, like a friend who was explaining and helping me to get any task done, right? It's a nice vision we have around for many, many decades. There have been TV shows like this one here, Max Headroom from the 80s, avatars, as a digital buddy who is solving crimes with me, like Knight Rider was nothing else, an intelligence who helps me to solve crimes and so forth. However, we are getting swapped right now with AI avatars, which are photorealistic. And as my digital twin before, they are getting at the moment very realistic appearances and are able to replace human presentation in some cases. And if you know me better, you might realize pretty quickly that this was completely artificial. But it's, the margin is very, very small to make it absolutely to a deep fake. I just would need to spend more time to make it to a very, very, very good deep fake. And I decided to not invest the time in it. So there is an example in a startup called Inception Point. And their AI rapidly produces thousands of audio episodes weekly for just $1 each, using AI and human oversight. So there is a human in the loop. This is important. But, they are reaching 10 million downloads already. And critics argue that the content lacks on depth and originality. And the company's success raises an important question. Can automated media actually deliver real quality, or is it just quantity? And even McKinsey and other consulting companies are betting on a new kind of avatars. They're choosing different kind of looks here. In this case, it's more like a Disneyfication or pixel art of avatars, but they have personality and they're acting in a very human-like way. Even car brands using avatars and their branding, their logos to create some character and image into that interaction by driving a car and having a small body in the car talking to you and creating some more human-like connection, right? It's a human-like, it's still artificial. And that's the point. You might think that if I look around, I'm the coolest one here. This is how one can feel when you're using ChatGPT too often in a day. For every silly question, I got praised. For every objection I hear, Christian, you are absolutely right. Because this is how AI is at the moment acting with me, right? Sure, deep down, we all tend to believe we are absolutely right, even we are not. But what does this flattery from AI do to us then? I might raise our expectations of interpersonal relationships to an immeasurable height. And, this week, my wife contradicted me in a discussion. I thought I misheard, just like that. without complimenting me first or confirming my statement. I simply ended the conversation and continued discussing the topic with ChatGPT. Just joking, of course, but exactly these situations we will experience much more and much more frequently in the future. This is my belief, it's my personal assumption, but I think as more we are interacting with AI, which is all day long, just pleasing us, it will have an effect on our social behaviors. Like the smartphone or the first phones, actually mobile phones, had a strong impact on our social behaviors 30, 40 years ago, when people started to using the phone anytime, everywhere, even if it was absolutely not okay. Okay. So we confuse artificial intelligence and emotions with artificial intimacy. That's my point here. Okay. So when to use avatars and when not. I believe an avatar can be a very helpful and thoughtfully communication tool. But it's very context related and very context sensitive, and it's not a solution for everything. You have to be very clear about the context and of the user expectations and their mental models. Then an avatar might be a great help. I see avatars used often to load yourself with, to communicate that you are modern, that you are ahead, that you want to do something fresh and new. However, it's not that great experiences often people have with these digital avatars. We have the uncanny valley effect, which is, I cannot often enough repeat, we unconsciously, deep down, feeling that the thing in front of us is artificial. And even that artificial intimacy, these artificial emotions are artificial. We feel that. We have this uncanny feeling. This is not right, what's happening here right now. And that is a human ability, which is not to overcome with technology. Okay, so make it helpful before you make it handsome. Another question we have to ask ourselves is, when is it an assistant and when is it an agent? And assistants are low integrated and low automation. They suggest options, but humans make the decisions. Think of Copilot suggesting email replies. Agents, on the other hand, are highly integrated and automated. They take actions and make decisions for you, like booking a restaurant table, or if you play around with Claude Cowork, or Perplexity Computer, or even with Clawbot, these are really agents. My advice is start with augmentation first. Use assistants if you're creating a product, an AI product, before you're moving straight to full agents. Just also because complexity. And mind the gap. Here's an example, which is also an important signal. User behavior and expectations might massively shift soon again, because ChatGPT already helps millions of people to find what to buy. Now it can help them to buy it too. And many other AI vendors like Anthropic and Gemini and so forth, having all these deals already in place with payment vendors. So that means AI can be used to buy products for you, to pay with your credit card information and so forth. Okay, so now we come to the second part of this webinar. What is human AI experience? It's a design approach focused on creating meaningful interactions between humans and artificial intelligence systems. It prioritizes human needs with leveraging AI capabilities to enhance user experiences. HAX design principles ensure that AI serves as a tool that extends human capabilities rather than replacing them, and is maintaining the human element in technology advancements. And the designer's role of all of us is shifting right now a lot. Again, how do we do things is one thing. The tool chain is changing. I don't have so much hope for Figma. There's a lot of signals to see from new solutions who might does a job in the same way or better. But I think the way, what kind of tools we are using to create design, manipulate design, create variations, and so forth is totally changing right now. However, it's much more as that. Now we are negotiate model performance trade-offs. We define evaluation cohorts and co-design safety loops. We are much more integrated in how the AI is actually working. How is it interacting with the user? Is it less? Which shade of blue? It's more, should this be autonomous, assistant, or user-driven? They are designing, it's more like designing learning ecosystems, not just interfaces. And if you go one deeper, we can see that traditional UX, then AI in UX, and then actually agent UX are a very cascaded disciplines in it. So our roles are changing here. And if you see a before and after, and this is a slide of the AX framework developed here in Porter. We'll talk later a little bit more about it. But user experience versus agentic experience or AI experience. From, on the left, the classic UX, everything we know and love. Interface level concerns, task success metrics, usability testing with designers and engineers. On the right, AX, the expanded playing field. Now we are dealing with system logic and ethics, not just interfaces. Our KPIs include fairness and bias, not just time on task. Testing means bias audits and explainability checks, not just click-through rates. And the team gets bigger. Ethicists and data scientists join designers and engineers at the same table. It's not that UX was wrong. It just wasn't built for systems that think, predict, and adapt on their own. So we as user experience designers, we have to evolve. We have to learn a lot. We have to skill up. Let me introduce you into the resources I'm using for this webinar and also for my teachings in the online courses. So frameworks are very helpful. It's a lingua franca. Without you are drawing maps in different coordinating systems, right? So I'm using a lot of Google from the people in the AI guidebooks. These are free available resources you can look up. When you have the PDF after this webinar, use the links in the PDF to get to the resources. And there's a lot of material you can digest. Also, Microsoft has a huge HAX toolkit with libraries and workbooks and templates and so forth. Also, GitLab, for the more, let's say, developer-oriented person, has a great library created with a lot of rules. It's not that visual, but it's a very helpful resource for sure. And then we have the AX framework for human-centered AI design from the Porto UX local community here in Porto, developed by Marta Fernandez. And I'm very proud that we're having this framework in place, that we are working with it at Optimizer and others. We are doing workshops here in Porto. So look, if you are from the region, from North Portugal, check out our website on Porto UX, where we are announcing also when we're doing community workshops and stuff like that. The AX framework has 7 pillars and is much more about how do we work together in a company. So designers together with other stakeholders. How do we collaborate to make it happen that we're creating a trustworthy, well-working application or AI product. HAX is much more about how do we design the experience. The AX framework is a framework to how make the collaboration possible. If you go to the website which has a lot of templates, you can, everything is for free, everything is open source, case studies, tools, and so forth. Help yourself to implement this kind of framework in your company with your colleagues to make yourselves life much easier when designing and developing AI applications. Then we have another resource, which is IEverse Design. I really love it. I'm a big fanboy of IEverse. I use it on a daily basis with my team at Optimizer. It's a perfect research ground, and it has tools like a pattern search. And by the way, all the examples in my course and in this presentation today are, I think 90% are from IEverse. I partnered up with them. I can download all the resources. It's also a new feature now. So if you're interested in user research, if you see the value in it, if you want to do a subscription, feel free to get a 30% discount by using the code. And here we go. We have, in all my research from all these resources, what was the intersection of all these resources in scientific papers is these 6 principles. And they are not optional features. They are foundational requirements for systems that empower rather than confuse. If you remove one, the entire structure of the user trust begins to be undermined, to sag, to not working anymore. Okay, let's start with the first one, empathy. Start with lived frictions, not with model availabilities, an example. Map emotional verbs like I feel stuck, anxious, exposed, overwhelmed. Users don't want GDP version, whatever. They don't care about the model version. They want help finishing the task they have at hand with confidence. Look, users are not interested in your solution. They're interested in their own problem. And bombarding them with all these options, like which LMM version here to use and so forth, is not helping at all. It's not empathy. That's just one aspect of it. There's many more. I have more examples later in the slides. Then the second is automatization versus augmentation. Automate repetitive work that elicits sight. Augment identity-defining work that grants status or creative satisfaction. Let humans do the part of they would be proudly put on LinkedIn. So when to automatize and when to augment. I have more examples for that later. Transparency and confidence, the third one. Provide layered explanations and translate uncertainty into actionability states. Avoid false precision theater. User needs decision guidance, not scientifically certainty theater. This is the biggest problem of AI, in my personal opinion. We're getting output of AI with the suggestion of that the AI is confident about that output is correct. even so is completely made up or flawful. And that is undermining trust. You cannot trust AI fully at the moment. It's getting better, but it's still not there. Then we have real control and editability, which is into the direction that offer inline edit, selective acceptance, different views, or version rollbacks. The editability of AI output is very bad at the moment. As we have to spend a lot of looping and trial and erroring to get to the end results we need and want. And the tools we have to adjust to work with the AI outcomes is not that great. Control should feel first class, not afterthoughts. So, graceful failure. Design recovery pathways that increases trust more than silent accuracy gains. So they do not often admit errors or propose remedies, or even asking us to teach them to get better in the future, right? So AI, with graceful failure, we mean that we need paths to transform failures into co-learning opportunities, co-learning for the user and co-learning for the AI model. And then last but not least, we have a big mental model shaping in action here. We need to define capability boundaries clearly, or users will invent magical folk theories about what the AI might be able to do or not. So we need to provide guided first tasks and calibrate optimism to prevent disappointment and abandonment. You will get it better in the next slides, I think. So what human AI experience designs offers us is that we can design with it systems to provide a hyper-personalized experience, adapting to individual user preferences and needs within the application in real time. And that is something we didn't have at hand. We dreamed of it as UX designers. We dreamed of it for many years. We had many concepts tried out, but we never reached that capability of creating hyper-personalized experiences until now. And for that, you need an ethos to follow, which is human needs first. And for every serious user experience designer, there's nothing new about it. Responsible augmentation, which means that design AI as an exoskeleton that amplifies force while leaving neural controls to us humans. AI should function as a tool that extends capabilities without replacing judgment and supporting rather than processing the work. And then we need real accountability. And in the moment, AI is not really accountable. Prevent AI from gaslighting users with overconfident wrong answers. Instead, design systems that admit limitations and learn collaboratively with the user together. Let's put this into examples. Human needs first. Effective personalization creates experiences that feel custom built for each user, increasing engagement and satisfaction. The goal is to create experiences that feel intuitive and responsive to individual needs without requiring explicit configuration.
When I get home, I need to finish coding this app. I need to cook some dinner, I need to clean my room, and I need to send Ariel my notes.
Responsible augmentation. Context-aware AI can anticipate needs and provide support before users explicitly requesting it. By understanding the context AI systems can deliver more intuitive experiences that feel natural and helpful rather than intrusive. And Miro at the moment with Miro Sidekick is doing that very well. It's also a prime example for offering a lot of helpful, supportive augmentation functionality without needing to be prompted. Because they're anticipating, because they're knowing the context, they're anticipating what might be the next step. So they're offering you the right button, the right feature to just one click. You do not have to prompt. You can prompt, but most of the time, as I observing it in user tests, is most people will not prompt if they're having a button which is maybe not even exactly what they want to do, but close enough to it. They will use always the button because by nature we are lazy. So real accountability needs scaffolding. It needs trust. You have slowly to teach all the user how to use these very complex systems of AI systems. So as an example, what we do often is that we show the factors that influences AI decisions and recommendations. Perplexity AI was very early to always provide citations and direct links to the resources where information was found, so users can independently verify or explore the sources of themselves. And while other AI systems made up completely sources and you clicked on it and it was just a 404 error, pages not existing, at Perplexity you had trust that if you click on it, there was always a result. And another way to work with these accountability is trust or confidence indicators to communicate how confident are you as a system, that the answer you are delivering is correct, or the study or the calculation or the foresight you are creating. What we have done at Optimizer with my designers here is a little experiment. It's just online since a couple of days. Feel free to play with it on your mobile phone or on your computer. There is a QR code to scan or the link 7 Sins of AI at Figma site. As you can see, it's wipe coded. And what does it do? We're using framing because, minor usability improvement opportunities, it does not ignite our hearts as designers. Pattern recognition of anti-patterns, on the other hand, accelerates remediation. We're learning much better what not to do as what to do. And this is what the third part now is all about. The last part before we going to the Q&A. We will now talk about a lot about what is the problem and what might be solution with a lot of examples. So if you want to use the 7 deadly AI design sins, it's an idea based from Rational Lab, a company I'm following since many years. It's a behavioral science company from the United States. They had last year a talk, the 7 sins of AI product design was such so. But the idea is great to just reframe the problems we have in the interaction with AI products into anti-patterns. And I'm using that. I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants. What we have done here is a little bit like a card deck. We have the 7 sins, and for every sin you find then also examples you can click and watch the real pattern in action as a little video. And so you can train and learn about the 7 sins, about the anti-patterns or dark patterns of AI design. So the 7 sins of human AI experience design are mediocrity, gluttony, vanity, neglect, obscurity, tyranny, and enviness. And by the way, these illustrations are not AI generated. They are hand generated by a human being. Shout out to Diana Silva here, and to Se Pedro, to Jose, who was creating the wipe-coded page. Okay, let's start. Mediocrity means don't overpromise and under-calibrate. Don't promise a Michelin star experience and deliver a vending machine sandwich. But this is exactly what happens a lot right now by using AI products. And AI integration in workplaces has not improved productivity, as many people might think. With 95% of companies reporting no revenue growth as well. Stanford researchers identified work slop, low quality AI generated work that creates actually more work for the co-workers. Employees report frustrations with correcting or redoing AI generated tasks, wasting time and resources. Workplaces dynamics suffers as the AI using colleagues are viewed negatively in terms of creativity, trustworthiness, and intelligence. And rapid adoption of AI by businesses often ignores its nuanced limitations. So this is one side of it, and everyone can share about that, his different personal experiences. I would not agree that it's completely for everyone the same. I can definitely see a lot of performance gainings in the work I do with my team. However, work slop is truly a danger to create more work if you are not aware of it. We need always human in the loop. And the challenging is the true AI reasoning of it. And to make it short, Apple's recent research confirms that there's a huge gap between human and AI reasoning capabilities. It's get better, impressively better in the last couple of months. However, AI is not understanding the context truly, and it's very depending on what we as users giving the AI as an input to understand the context, which is mostly not sufficient. Okay, after 1 year of propaganda laundering, NewsGuard's audits over the past year, that means 2025, have revealed that there is a consistent weak spot of our large language models. The leading chatbots regularly repeat fabricated narratives pushed by state-affiliated propaganda networks disguised as legitimate local news. So bullshit in, bullshit out. Bad data in, bad data out. And that is a big problem for all AI models, with exception Claude for Anthropic. They have found a way to mitigate that much better. But even Perplexity had which has earned a lot of trust in 2024 for the quality of their outputs and reasoning. They had 46% of wrong output, of false information in their model in end of 25. So you see, the model is getting bigger and better, but the problem of flawful output is not solved at all, and our trust is absolutely undermined in AI products, and that is a huge problem. So, and we can see that, an example, in several users in Reddit complained about quality of Duet AI. Duet AI is the AI inside of Google Docs. And there was a lot of overblown claims. And the output created a huge cognitive whiplash. The marketing said of Google that we're talking here about near human-like output and writing assistance, but it absolutely did not deliver to this promise, and the whiplash was huge. Another example is glue and pizza. Again, garbage in, garbage out at scale. AI doesn't think, it predicts patterns based on data. If that data includes satirical Reddit posts of misinformed forum answers, you will eventually get eat glue, served up as a serious advice. This is garbage in, garbage out, but not now on the whole internet as a scale. And the danger escalates when AI-generated outputs themselves become input for the next generation of models. We are teaching machines from a data set that is increasingly artificial, diluted, and detached from the human verified true space. So AI is generating content which is used to train AI, and we're creating a loop, iteration loop of shit is getting just more shit. And sorry for my clear words, but this is not only my opinion. Another example, Meta, the Meta glasses I was demonstrating 1 hour ago. Here is a report from one of the early adopters in the US, which is saying that on a YouTube video, which is now removed, he reported that these Ray-Ban branded smart glasses with a heads-up display for notifications, navigations, and voice commands he was trying out, and the glasses were shown working with Meta's EGM wristband as well, allowing gesture controls. And the head-up display visible over the right eye only reportedly supports Meta AI features and messages input via finger swipes. So here on the side. But to be clear, this is not true augmented reality. And it's far less ambitious than the Orion prototype, which was presented 1 year ago. The clip shows that the display is quite fixed in the glass. It's visible to the right eye only, being used for the Meta AI and on-foot navigation as well. And the wristband being used for finger swiping letters on physical surface to respond a message, which is also not a great user experience to do that in a little wristband touch interface. So another problem here is that, as you can see in the screenshot, that there was a lot of bugs in the navigation system from the Meta AI and so forth. So a big overpromise of the capabilities of this technology in this early state. Very dangerous. This is how it looks like. And we will see if, well, it's most likely it's also with the launch of the Apple smart glasses, the Google XR glasses, and many more. And by the way, if you look up at AliExpress or Temu, you can find smart glasses with cameras, microphones, AI capabilities, and so forth, for a price point round about 120 to 150 euros. These are knockoffs, great knockoffs from products which are anyway designed in California and produced in China. And well, this is a price tag which has the potential to penetrate the consumer market. And why not? I mean, nowadays people walking around with earphones like the Apple earphones and so forth, you know, just 10, 15 years ago, that was like people with hear aids, right? It was not cool. Today, it's just normal. And by the way, earphones, any kind of earphones, are also getting loaded with AI functionalities. And we'll have here a very interesting AI interface for us. Of course, it's mostly voice. Okay. Solutions. We should show vulnerability. Provide provenance tags. Draft build from slide. Here's something kaput. Okay, so what here the many AI systems should always do is to make a note that, hey, this is an AI system. It might do mistakes. There might be discrepancy in the outcome. Don't take it 100% serious. It might be faulty, right? We have a lot of AI products out there which are not doing this little disclaimer. And that's a point. It's not by law reinforced to do it, but it's ethically correct to offer acknowledgement to the user that this AI is not perfect and cannot be perfect. It's a state of the art technology. Here we have another solution from Grammarly, which is preventing overpromise and under-calibration in their AI by providing clear, actionable suggestions tailored to each user's writing context. By setting realistic expectations and delivering feedback matched to the actual needs, Grammarly builds trust and avoids user frustration, resulting in a more satisfying and reliable experience. Even so, you might heard about a big scandal in the last weeks, because Grammarly was offering writing assistance and that you can write in the style of a famous writer or a famous journalist, and that created kind of a backflash again, especially from the journalists alive who recognize their own writing styles, which they are gained over many decades of hard work and training, being as easy to replicate in a tool like that. And Grammarly is promised betterment here, and was not expecting also that kind of feedback. It's a big learning for everyone. Here's another example from Replit AI, which is increasing operational transparency by noticing errors and showing the fixing steps. So it's very transparent about what might be wrong and how to fix it, what it's doing while it's working. It's tries to uncover the magic. And what's happening here in this example from Grammarly and others, or also Miro, Sidekick, and Copilot, coding agents, is that we're getting the IKEA effect in a nutshell. The IKEA effect is a cognitive bias that describes consumers' tendency to value something more if they have made it themselves. And this is something deeply rooted in us humans. That's why brands often use the IKEA effects to have customizations for final products, as they help the consumer relate to it more and therefore appending to it more value. It's more valuable for us if we had a hand in it, how we created it. So involve the user in the creative process. Don't just deliver a finished product. Make them a partner in the co-creation. The user will appreciate it, and he will value it more. The second sin, gluttony, choice overload. Don't overwhelm users. Create, chunk, and use progressive disclosure. Choice overload isn't empowerment, it's design outsourcing. All the knobs, none of the clarity. And we're getting slammed with informations about the models and buttons again, what you can do or not, and fix this and that and write. But is it that clear? Are the fundamental principles of good user interface design are followed in these AI products we are having in use at the moment? And it's, for me, clear that a lot of engineers with not sufficient support of good user interface designers are developing software and launching it and giving it to consumers. And that is fatal. So offering 18 generation models is a cognitive tax. Choice overload is outsourcing product strategy to the user. Overwhelming users with too many options, models, or advanced settings is causing choice paralysis. If we have more as 5 things to choose from, we are paralyzed. We're not choosing at all. These are very fundamental old school design rules which are not followed in most applications we have around. So Claude, in examples, has a progressive disclosure, starts with a broad path, allow deep specializations after first successes, and then has a feature grid, which gives empowerment. Or Google Duet is a strong example, even so it has a lot of critics in the first versions. It's improved a lot. And now it's a strong example for preventing choice overload in the AI UX design, because it streamlines users' decisions by offering only a few clearly differentiated options. By limiting the number of AI features and no model choices presented at once, Duet reduces cognitive burden, making it easier for users to select the best tool for their needs without feeling overwhelmed. And this approach leads to a smoother, more confident user experience and helps users focusing on accomplishing their task rather than navigating unnecessary complexity. Perplexity, again, is an excellent example for preventing choice overload in their design by focusing on explainability and transparent citations. Instead of overwhelming users with numerous models, options, or ambiguous answers, Perplexity clearly displays the source behind its response, and it is allowing the user easily to verify information and understand how the conclusions are reached. And this transparency builds trust and empowers users to make informed decisions. And by reducing this uncertainty and this cognitive load, you're really, really supporting the user. Okay. RoomSmith is refining objects from an image by reducing choice paralysis by letting users interact with exactly one object at a time rather than a complex setting panel. This is a really beautiful example of how easy you can interact with AI without prompting. The third thing, vanity. Don't market AI as a badge. Tie your messaging to the outcomes it delivers. Excessive AI branding versus the actual benefit. And this picture of the smart refrigerator from LG is from 2017. And this year at the CES Las Vegas, it was a Samsung refrigerator who won the prize for worst AI product on the whole CES Las Vegas. Because, again, why do we need AI in a fridge? Why do we need to talk to a fridge? It makes no sense for most people, and it's not even working well. And that's the reason people strongly rejecting also this. It's, just putting AI on it is not making it to a better product. The same way for the Samsung AI wash, which is really like greenwashing, and now we're doing AI washing. Hassle-free wash with advanced AI wash, the multi-sensing technology for automatically optimized washing. As a user, I do not care about your solution. I do care about my dirty laundry, which I'm putting into the wash machine and just say start. I don't care if you're using AI to make it cleaner. That is not really helping. This is vanity. This is just putting a label on it. In a very, very short period of time, I'm convinced we will not call things AI anymore. It's just technology. It's what we use day by day. It's a little bit like 20 years ago when we talked about we had to put the word digital in front of everything. Like, this is a digital experience. This is digital design. This is digital payment, whatever. Everything was digital. We're not doing it anymore because the world is digital. But we needed this transfer time from the old world, from the analog time to the digital world. In the same way, we have now the transfer from a non-AI world to an AI world. But soon we will not put AI on it anymore. But there's another aspect. AI on Instagram search bar feels tagged on with no clear promise or value. Okay, you have AI in Instagram or in WhatsApp. What can you do with it? Where is it explained? And the solution is, of course, to highlight what you really can do. What is AI doing for you? As simple as your weekly reports in 90 seconds, or you're saving so much time a day or a week or in your life by using AI. But AI without communication, what is a benefit for the user, is a very bad approach. The concrete benefits of the AI in your product should be always highlighted. And this is not even user interface design. This is communication. This is UX writing, marketing, call it as you wish. Okay, another example here is also Cobot, which is, sorry, I have to put here a click. Cobot's dynamic suggestions and HyperAgent's command center bypasses AI buzzwords to directly accelerate the user's workflow and provide actionable utility. And now we are already at the fourth thing, neglect. So neglect is a prime example for blank prompt paralysis. Blank input field is a designer's gave up. Don't just leave users hanging, provide starter prompts. If you need prompting as an interface, then at least use starter prompts. Give them a template what to do next. Users experience often writer's block because they need a paragraph seed where to start from, not an empty stage. Again, most people don't know what to write or what to say, so they need a helping hand here. And what is behind that is Vygotsky's theory of scaffolding, which taught us that people grow when someone supports them just beyond what they can do themselves. And we are now in that phase where everyone has to learn how to use AI products really, how to do it well, how to do it easy, how to use all these capabilities. For that, we need scaffolding. And here's another example that, we're having very different design language, icon language for the same thing. It's not standardized yet. It reminds me of the early days of touch technology. We had different gestures for the same thing, like pinching and so forth, because we had different operating systems. And everyone, Microsoft, Apple, and others, HP, and there'd be many, many vendors around. Everyone did his own thing, but on the end, after a couple of years, it will crystallize what is the interception of all of that and will be the quasi standard for how we're using gestures and swipes and so forth on our touch interfaces. The same will happen with AI, with voice, and other things. So again, here another problem with WhatsApp, with introducing an AI without any clear guidance, how to use it, what for to use it. Instead, it's a very vague text that confuses the user further, and it whispers, I can do anything, which users read as, I will probably waste time. And it's a little bit better, not much better at Gemini, which is neglecting the users at the starting line. No direction, no examples, no sense of what's possible. And the weight of initiative lies solely on the user, which is a massive friction point. A blank box is a cognitive cliff. And the solution here is pretty simple. Offer contextual starter intents, recent task templates, micro examples with clear outcomes. Use it like a cockpit handed to someone who wanted a bicycle. Or Cloud's cute avatar, welcomes the user with a friend to conversational onboarding, presents to lower the activation barrier, to overcome that cognitive cliff. It's a very small trick to create emotion, feeling, and to give a nudge to people to start to do something. The fifth sin, obscurity. Don't make users play Indiana Jones of hidden features. Use just-in-time surfacing. Yeah, and that is, it's a little bit controversial, because on the one side, we have this AI discoverability. Users didn't expect or think to look for AI features in an app or a site. They did not notice it, comment on or use them. They couldn't easily find these features even when we directed them to look for them, if the button or the feature does not really has an example, the sparkle icon, which at the moment is the universal language for AI is here. On the other hand, the sparkle icon is used in a such exponential way that it means also nothing anymore. People expect AI behind the sparkle icon at this moment in time. If there is no AI behind the sparkle on your website or app, it will create instant huge frustration and mistrust. Or here we have quick with a lightning symbol as icon, and again I click on it and then I have 3 models to choose from. But why should I expect that behind quick? It makes no sense. It's a break with mental models. So another problem here is in Rufus. Who knows Rufus? Rufus is an AI chatbot on Amazon, but you really have to search for it. And if you're lucky, you'll find it, you can experience it. So this is also not how to do it. If power users run workshops to explain basics, you shipped a puzzle. Okay. Solution: use did you know nudges triggered by relevant state. So in the context of it. Just-in-time revelation of capabilities based on context. It's like a good onboarding, right? Features shouldn't feel like cheating codes. And use anticipated suggestion. Try, if you have the technological capability, because it's really complex, not easy to do, to anticipate what might the users most likely wants to do next, and offer him these options as buttons, as drop-downs, as easy to understand and limited options to go into action. So in the examples you see here on the left side, you have anticipated suggestions based on the data sets that people are working with. On the right side, you have all these things you can do, right? But if you have a long drop-down list, and here is even so AI features mixed up with classic non-AI features, is problematic. It's also choice paralysis at work at the moment. You have to make a decision about what do you want to do next from all these possibilities in your drop-down. Don't forget, 5 is a magic number for decision-making. Everything more as 5 is challenging the cognitive load of the user. Solutions are excellent example in cursors, inline file referencing, which meets developers exactly where they work by integrating AI directly inline rather than hiding it in a separate sidebar. I talk to a lot of developers at my daily work, and they have very mixed feelings about the user interface of Cursor. Some love it, some not. However, this feature to anticipate again what the developer mostly needs right now, this is highly appreciated by them. Here's another example from what we created in Porto at Optimizer for a company in the UAE, which is more an agentics approach of interacting with a website, with a service to create a business in the UAE by anticipating the most likely next question or step and choice, and then going into creating a proposal and actually going into conversion of the service the user is intending here. It's quite, you might say, yeah, it's a funnel. and it's true, right? It's like an if-else funnel, classic triage, but it's completely AI-based. It was one of the first projects we did last year in that kind of user interface, and we learned a lot about it. Also, what we learned is that you can't do too much. You do not need to use AI for everything. However, here with payment integration and everything, this is also, in my opinion, a good example of how you can use AI to make a very great user experience, agentic experience. Last one, not the last one, sorry, two more. Tyranny, one of my favorites. Don't use opaque automatization that overrides users without explanation. Provide an override and an audit trail. Forced automatization is undermining the user's psychological safety and trust into the product. So the problem is that often, like in Claude, which I personally like a lot, but it cuts me off abruptly access once the free limit is reached. The free limit, I don't know what is free about. I mean, I pay for it, right? I have a monthly subscription, but even so my limit is reached, come back at 9 o'clock Lisbon time, which means 3 hours later, and such for. This is like blackmailing to subscribe a higher tier and so forth. I hate it, and I cannot imagine that any other user is liking it, to be in the middle of his working process, to be thrown out office work, to say you cannot use me for the next hours anymore, pay me more first. This is blackmailing. This is not good. Or here we have an example from the United States, from Hertz and Sixt car rental companies, which have created these car rental scanners. So as a person who is renting a car, when I'm dropping off my car, I'm just driving through the scanner. The AI is recognizing all these scratches and dents and maybe accidents on the car, and is creating, the drop-off process, the refunding process, and so forth. The problem was the technology is flawful. And an example, when it was raining a little bit, so you're driving with a wet car through the scanner, the scanner, the AI, was identifying raindrops as dents or scratches and was immediately withdrawing from your credit card hundreds of US dollars for these scratches and dents you have made in your rental car, which of course people had to go through a lot of hassle by contacting then the rental companies. They wanted to have a refund. They have to prove that there was no accident. There's a lot of hassle, especially if you're calling these companies and then there is no humans anymore. There are AI bots on the telephone line. So they got back their money, but the trust of the user into the service and the product, into the brand, is broken. So at Optimizer here's an example from Grammarly for a solution that transforming writing into a collaboration where AI supports and the user stays in control. So instead of tyranny to taking over for you, Grammarly is always giving you the option as a user. And here's another example for a solution. Drag to stop and regenerate ensures that the user is always in the driver's seat, allowing them to instantly halt an unwanted AI generation and search and ultimate control. And here is an example from Optimizer for a company also in Norway, a rental company. So we decided not building these expensive big scanners, so putting all these AI on a mobile phone. So the person who is renting a car is picking up the car by walking around the car and making videos or photos from inside and outside. And when you're dropping it off, in the same way, just walking around once with your phone, with the app, the AI is recognizing if there is an accident, dents, scratches, if the car is from the inside super dirty. But, and here's the thing, there's always a human in the loop who has to confirm that the AI was working correctly. And that is highly appreciated as a very time-saving experience for the person who is renting it. And it's also reduced a lot of work and time in the drop-off and pick-up processes for the rental car companies. It's a big success thanks of AI augmentation. And that's the point here. It's an automatization or is it augmentation? Do you have the human in the loop? And this is what we have always to figure out as designers together with our colleagues from the product owners, developers, and so forth. How much engagement do we want from the user? How much automatization we want, and how much augmentation we want to provide. Okay, the seventh sin and the last one, enviness. Don't just copycat feature chasing. Distill your unique users' advantages and optimize your users' interaction loops. We have the sea of sameness. Companies are usually starting to copycat features of the competition when they have no own idea anymore. And that is why companies like Revolut, Google, Spotify, and others leading in the markets, they are willing to make it different and most importantly, user-centered. And this is really a problem. What are the difference between all these vendors? At the moment, if you're working heavily all day long with them, you can identify that maybe Claude is helping you a little bit better in their output, in the things you want to do or have to do for work, as Perplexity or ChatGPT or Gemini or even Grok. But as a consumer, which most likely you will create your AI product for the average Jane and Joe out there, it makes absolutely no difference. What for them makes a difference, is it accessible for free or for very cheap? Is it safe? Can I trust it? Is it valuable? Do I understand it? And another side of the sea of sameness is that, again, it all looks the same. It lacks on personality and character. And someone pointed out that all these AI icons look like buttholes, and now I can't unsee it. And the solution might be examples like Google Whisk, which breaks the sea of sameness with a playful modular interface, or Figma's drag to create content allows you to replace duplicate content with new related content simply by dragging in the selection. The good old drag and drop is doing magic and involving users in your product. And I believe we will see much more of these old school interactions to drag and drop and edit things visually in any kind of software, but especially in design. And under the hood, everything is AI generated, of course, but the interaction will be much more back away from prompt towards pinpointed editing of elements on the screen. Okay, here we go. AI should enhance, not replace user experience. And with that, we're coming to the last two screens. Our goal should be to create symbiotic human-AI relationships through intelligent assistance, personalized recommendations, and proactive support, but ensuring users retain control. And as even the founder of and CEO of DeepMind is saying, we need to make AI accessible so people can harness its potential, responsibility, and creativity. And even Dennis Hassabis was mentioning that they didn't solve the right user interface interaction with AI yet, because it's just very, very hard. And we all together have to work on it.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI. AI.
You mean artificial intelligence?
Right. That it. Thank you very much for 90 minutes of attention, I hope. It's very late already here in Europe. And I think we can open then the Q&A session.
Okay. We can. I think some people already, Paul was mentioning a few minutes ago that maybe we can get your opinion on that if you want, Christian, but how pointless our brands name their AI tools other name rather than,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, good old creativity, right? Of name finding. I mean, that's a discipline for itself. Finding the right product name. Yeah, and I agree, Paulo.
Let me see if anyone else mentioned stuff in the beginning. There's some people in the beginning that were commenting on the. You're mentioning something about the wearable devices. I don't know if you can still answer this question. This was like more than an hour ago.
Yeah, no worries. So look, so at the moment, all these wearable devices are very closed ecosystems. So of course, as a developer, you will have access to libraries and so forth to do apps or functionalities to use these wearables for Apple or Android. Android is usually much opener, right? So the Mentra glasses I was presenting 1 hour ago, the interesting part is that it comes with an open source operating system and with a whole ecosystem to develop things with it and to access the microphone, the cameras, and everything on the device. So that is highly interesting to create demos and to experiment and so forth. An example, if you're using the Meta Ray-Bans, you are just tethering between a mobile app on your phone and the glasses. It's just tethering. So you're just building a mobile app and you are very limited in what you can do with the glasses itself or what you can access. It's very close by Meta. And this is where we are at the moment. So I would always look for open source tech to learn, to experiment, to go over the edge of the boundaries, to find new boundaries, to hack a little. This is fun and most teachable for everyone in the team. Yeah.
We have another question here. Just came up.
Yeah.
How important do you believe it is to apply AX to startups?
Yeah. The question is regarding here to the AX framework. So the way how we should work together as a team to develop the right experience, or to HAX. HAX are really the principles how to create experience as a designer. So HAX is for designers. Yeah? The AX framework is really for you, including your product owner, the developers, and so forth. And this is a framework based on the UCD, or the user-centered design framework, and just extended for the needs of AI products, especially in the area of ethics and trust and definitions of done. And have a look, please, into the templates Marta is offering on the website. In 30 minutes, you can align the whole team to the vision of the AI product. It's really good. Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Great. I mean, can I guess give an example? In our case here at the school, we're building some small tools and some bigger projects, and they more or less have AI stuff inside and AI features. And I mean, it would be useful to apply these types of principles, right? Because it's different than building just a normal, I would say, a non-AI product, I guess. Well, then it depends what would be your, in terms of leadership, what would be the the acceptance of these types of, oh, do you have time to design this in a certain way, or to think about certain principles or certain ways of designing for AI. I will maybe get some questions from the forum if maybe more people can ask stuff in the meantime. We still have a few more minutes. Although they're in Portuguese, I'll try to translate something that people...
Não fala português muito bem. Desculpa. Eu tento, mas é muito difícil para mim.
There's also some people here that they joined with a Google Calendar link, and I put there the link where they can sign up to get the materials, by the way, because otherwise we don't know your email to send the materials over, right? And the certificate, so we need your email. And please write the email correctly, because some people don't know how to write their emails, and then they don't get nothing.
And these same people now should write prompts, right?
Yeah. Especially when keyboards today, they have the, I mean, at least in mine, and they have the emails already pre-selected or like saved. You can like start writing the email and then it shows up everything else, like in the autocomplete feature of the keyboard. And even like that, people still, like some people still put their email, write their emails wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
Some questions. Some things you already talked about it, because for example here, person wanted to learn a bit more about good practices, limitations, ethics around AI. Talked about a lot of that today. Some people want to know about tools. Well, can talk a little bit. We already talked about tools today as well. Some examples and good practices in some products regarding AI features. Maybe that's here. There's someone that asked 3 questions. I think these 3 might be interesting, which is I'll go one by one. So the first one is how to stay updated with everything that's happening, like with AI things and
you can't.
Marketing.
It's just too much. It's just too much. It's an avalanche of information. No human being is capable to cognitively stay up to date and to process all that. It's too fast. It's too much. The only thing you can do is you can create a strategy of, first of all, intentional ignorance. It's like a filter to say, what do I will ignore for now? Because it's just hot air. It's just noise. Every day, a new information. It's not helping. It's very healthy to ignore a topic for a couple of weeks and then making a lookup to see what's not now the state of the art. Create filters. There is one platform. There is an AI for that. TAIFT.com, which has a very well curated newsletter, which you can then, of course, set up if you want to have that thing daily, weekly, monthly, which is reporting about the newest AI tools, updates, developments, models, and so forth. And I'm receiving it once a week, which is totally enough for me. And the fun fact is, they're popping up topics, an announcement of new gadgets and software tools and this and that. And it's super appealing, super seductive to, oh yeah, I want to figure out about it. And then I don't have time for it because, hey, tough life. I have to work and I have a family and these things. And then when I want to, have a checklist, like a to-do list with these topics I want to explore, and then I want to go back to it, and then it's outdated. It's already outdated. There's something newer, more interesting, more important coming up in 1 week. So, Napoleon had a strategy to not getting overwhelmed with all the things the people wanted from him. So he had a habit of, when he received letters, he would lay them by side and didn't open them immediately. They let them lay there for a week or so. Because most of the time, the problems resolve themselves when you just let it wait a little bit, right? So you don't have to jump on it. Let's keep it. It's very hard at the moment. Find a trustworthy resource of information, like, again, a curated newsletter. There's another newsletter, Superhuman AI, I think, from New York. They're doing a pretty good newsletter. And again, I'm not even reading all of the newsletters because I don't have time for it.
I mean, you can just look at, for example, Claude as a product itself. They're launching like updates literally every day. You know,
Yeah.
Every day you wake up and there's like a new update on Twitter. Oh, we just did this and that. It's like, okay, but can we just start the day and doing actual work instead of just trying to figure out the new update? But yeah, the next question was how to keep consistency in delivering these AI experiences. I guess that's the question. I can also put it up here.
So it's a very good question. So good old testing should follow a plan and a structure and a list of requirements or the parameters, right? And this is not changing with AI. The other way around is even more important to have this quality assurance process step with your AI product, because AI models drift. They change while you are working with it. Again, it's like a living being which is doing irrational things which you're not expecting from it. So you have to control it. You have to measure it constantly. We have in many software products an attitude of launching it and not monitoring it well. We leave it. It's just working. And if users are starting to complain, maybe over social media or whatever, then we might get attention of it, and then we might change the bug, the problems, or we improve the product and whatsoever. But AI products, you cannot abandon. You have to monitor them constantly, and you have to react if they are doing things you don't expect, or the user is getting very frustrated with it. So rule of thumb, have a solid monitoring process or quality assurance process for your AI product. Much more important as for classic products without AI. Also, don't forget, AI is biased. And even you are testing edge cases and so forth, there might come a user intent which is getting a feedback which is super biased and is creating a negative reaction on your product. And you have to mitigate that, because even you are not in control of your LLM as long you didn't teach and train your LLM yourself, which most of us will not do. They will use an existing LLM like GEP or Cloud or whatever. Look, a little example. Just prepared a workshop for this Saturday in Porto. We created a moderation plan, and we are 2 moderators, Marta and me. Marta is a female, I'm a man. So the AI, so we are both trainers. We are both training on this workshop, right? We are equal. But the AI was assuming, because Marta is a female name, that she is my assistant. And of course, I use AI for augmentation, to making something boring as fuck like a moderation plan, right? But the AI was putting Marta always in assistant tasks, like Marta is making notes. Christian is presenting, Marta is making notes. Totally wrong, totally bullshit, right? We are equal moderators. We are training in this workshop a whole day long. And it's shocking that AI is so biased that just because a woman cannot be an equal trainer or what? I don't know where this is coming from. This comes from bad training, of course, that this mistake was happening. And I mean, we laughed about it and corrected it by hand, but this is exactly the point. It needs a human in the loop. You cannot trust, even it was a very sophisticated AI. It was Opus 4.6 extended from Claude, most advanced model at the far. Yeah, it's biased. it puts women into assistant positions. So the most advanced models are even still biased and sexist and masochistic and so forth, right? So ready to check.
And I guess that's it. We actually, about like ethics and like biases, we have a lot of stuff, a lot of teachers that want to also talk about it. We'll probably want to plan something bigger about that, like different talks. Like it's like, oh, let's talk about this. That maybe that will come in the future if, like, you know, because you and other people are like, a lot of at least 5 people have, say, topics about that. There's also other questions in the form that, you know, it's funny because someone said everything, you know, they want to know everything. And well, they want to know everything. Well, it's impossible, like you mentioned, but if you want to learn a bit more, also a bit more practical and do group exercises with other people, you can join the course. That's it, that you talked in the beginning. The information will also be going in the email with the certificate and the course materials. And that's it. I think we are done for today, Christian. I don't know if anyone else has more questions, but if not, we'll end this webinar right here.
Thank you very much for your intention.
Else, Christian?
Yeah, thank you very much. Muito obrigado pela atenção. Para 2 horas, tá fixe. And I hope you can get something out of it. I think 15 minutes is just not doing the job. And I hope to see you in one of the courses or in one of the events here in Porto or Lisbon or Iberia, Europe.
And that's it. See you guys.